Hello Lakeisha, this is Ken Parrish with Harrison Landscape and Design. I'm here in front of the Holiday Inn Express and Suites on Interstate 10 near Fry Road, West Green Road actually. And the purpose of the video, as we discussed, is to give an account of all of the dead fauna and plants and shrubs here at this property. And then subsequently we'll bundle up that count into a tabular bid. Get you today. Let's start right here to the east of the front door. These particular plants you'll see frequently in a lot of hotels. They're called Indian hawthorn right here. Something to let you know if a plant is pretty much dead. This will just be an example. As you come up and you hold this and you do that, you see how it breaks so quickly. And then if you look inside it, see how dry that is? It has no flexibility and no color. It's completely dry. For some reason, the Indian hawthorns did not fare well in this freeze here in South Texas. I don't think we're in what's called zone 9s of the hardiness zone in the United States, and Indian hawthorns are typical for this area, but unfortunately they did not fare very well. Interior here we have what's called spaghetti grass. This spaghetti grass right here, this kind of stuff, typically dies in the winter but comes back. I'm going to give you an account for those just in case you want to replace them. And also I'm going to show you your roses. These are knockout roses. They get pruned and trimmed every year. Look how well they did. Look how beautiful they are even without their blooms and without their blossoms, which will be coming up here in the next few weeks. So those do not need to be replaced, just need to be trimmed down. So let's start our count. Indian hawthorn, these are 7 gallon. They're really large. You could go with 3 if you wanted to replace them. My suggestion is going to be to replace these plants with 3 gallons. You might have to buy 1 or 2 more to fill in the gaps, but we'll count. We're going to call this, for every 3 7 gallons, you can use 4 3 gallons, but we'll do the math a little bit later. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 Indian hawthorn. And for the spaghetti grass in the middle, I'm going to go 2, 4, 6, 8 1 gallon variety, and another 8 in that section there, so 16 in total. Along this side, this particular spaghetti grass has not fared well. I am going to show you a bid to replace all of it. So I'm going to go with 3 gallon variety of maybe a laurel petalum, maybe a Japanese photina, something along those lines, but I'm going to give you a count like this. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 3 gallon plants. These are called angel hair. I don't know necessarily that they fared that badly, but I'm going to show you a bid because they haven't placed the plants in the bed symmetrically. You got that whole area right there that doesn't have anything, just some mulch. So I'm going to go with 3 gallon variety, and we're going to go 3 wide. Actually, what I would do in the back is something a little bit larger, something that gets fuller. Again, another like a Japanese photina, something along those lines. And then maybe, or laurel petalum in the back. You could do that as well. But anyway, we're going to go 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 25, 29, 27, 30, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, and 40. We're going to go 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47. Now let's take a look here at these entry beds. This is called Asian jasmine. And as you can see, this Asian jasmine has died. It does look like a little bit of it's coming back, but I would encourage you to replace it. Here's why. Asian jasmine typically If it looks like it's dead, it's going to keep dying. And what you'll see growing in here is not Asian jasmine, but more of an ivy. You can see that this is not Asian jasmine. This right here is Asian jasmine. See how dark green it is compared to this? This is something else. And this is just a weed. So again, my suggestion would be to replace all of this. You could still replace it with a ground cover. You could replace it with lantana or something like this, or you could go again with different plants. But let's assume you want to replace it with a carpet of ground cover, whether it's more Asian jasmine or something along those kinds. I can tell you approximately what the length is just from my visual sight, that typically for every foot you need 2 1-gallon plants. You could even go with the 2x2 kind of like flowering type, but I would go with 1 gallon. But for every foot you need at least 2 1-gallons. Hold on. So you have approximately 8 feet here, that's 16. And then going across you have, I want to say 10 feet. So that's 180 for this block right here. And then if you go, say, 5 feet across, that's another 10 plus that's another 20 feet, 10 by 20. It's going to be another, figure it, at the very minimum you're going to need 300 single gallon Asian jasmine or ground cover. You could go with a smaller 2x2 inch. You could probably fit 700. That's just to completely fill it. Again, if you chose to substitute the ground cover for something more like laurel petalum or again the photinas or maybe candleberry trees, that sort of thing, you could get 1, 2, 3, 4 3-gallon by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, say 4x4, so 16, and then another, so about 32 3-gallon plants in this section here. And of course here, same basic principle. You're going about 10 feet by 12 feet this direction. You're talking about 120 square feet. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4 times 6 is another 24 3-gallon plants. Or again, if you want to try the 1 gallon or even the smaller 2 inch by 2 inch inserts for ground cover, you could have another 200 here in the front and around the sides. Again, those are just options to consider. As we walk around the back, these brush line ligustrum type, some of them are called boxwoods. These are Japanese ligustrums here. They don't look like they're in good shape, but I can promise you they're not dead. You see these green leaves blooming. If it were me, I'd wait. I wouldn't remove all of them. And as we walk around the entire perimeter, you can see, let's just walk down the line. You can also see your trees are fine. They did not die. These look dried out. They do look distressed. These plants could potentially use a fertilization insert into the ground, which would make them pop and maybe come back. A treatment, as it's called. I'm not going to give a count of these, as I don't think that we would need to remove them. Hold on. There's that side. Now as we continue down, again, all these plants are not dead. They could actually maybe be pruned back, maybe down a foot and inside a foot, maybe give them a little bit better head start. Obviously, whoever's been maintaining the property has not maintained the beds at all. As we come around the side, you'll see still green. Green is good. Anytime we see green, they're not dying. And now we get to the west side of the building. I'm going to cross through here. Okay, so here we are on the other side, and now we start the hard part. These are oleanders. Oleanders are a traditional zone 9 hardiness zone plant that usually you see all throughout the South. They don't fare well when you have freezes that are longer than 24 hours. You have a whole long line of them out here, so we're going to give you a count. This particular plant, you can see by the width of the stalk here, this one plant, this is easily a 50-gallon plant. Someone came by and trimmed them here, I would presume maybe last spring. Just kind of came and cut the tops of them off, probably before they were 15 feet, 20 feet high. I'm fairly sure that you don't want to replace them with the exact same type of plant, much less the same size. So what I'm going to do is give you an account of 7-gallon to replace these. So we're going to start here. There's going to be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I'm filling in gaps here. 16, 17. Obviously, this whole area back here is filthy and dirty, needs to be cleaned up. 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31. So we're stopping at 31 real quick. Let me just bring up a specific point. I want to make sure that we insert this. My suggestion is not to replace with the same size plant. First and foremost, this particular plant right here would probably be around 24 gallons, 24 to 28 gallons. You would need a hole probably at least a yard in circumference around the bottom of the plant, and a depth of maybe 2 feet in order to get that in and out. Whereas a 7-gallon, you don't really need that much. In addition, you can't just come in and shave these at the top and leave them blank. If you shave them and leave them blank, then it becomes infinitely more difficult to pull these out at the roots when it does come time to replace them. So my suggestion is you go with the 7-gallon variety for now. You could choose a photina, like we talked about earlier, a Japanese photina, beautiful plant. You could choose laurel petalum. Laurel petalum is notorious for being a ridge or a wall type, boxwood, ligustrum type hedgerow, just like oleanders are. Anyway, we're at 31. We're going to go 32, 33, 34, and I'm going to cross over. 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41. We're back over here. 42, 43, 44. Oh, and I'm sorry to interrupt myself. 44. It may not look like I'm pointing right at the plants. I'm not. I'm pointing at the space where they will go. 44, because you're not going to replace these. This would easily be 18 to 20 gallons. So 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100. Look at these things right here. 100. These things are huge. These things are 50-gallon plants right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So we're talking about 114 7-gallon hedgerow type plants that run the full length. I'll give you options. Basically 7-gallon plants of this variety that are going to be very hardy, going to survive summer and winter and look beautiful. They're all about the same price. plus or minus $5. I mean, that might be a lot. We talk about 100, you're talking $5 or it's 500 extra dollars. But I realize that, but we're not talking massive differences when you're talking, we're going one 7-gallon variety to another. You could replace them with these, which are they're like a candlewood, a brush type plant. I think they're just simple Japanese ligustrums. So let's go by the pool now. I'm gonna press pause. So as I walk by the pool, I want to note there are no installed plants here. I'm presuming that it's because somebody wanted to maybe install seasonal color, or they had installed this with the intent of actually installing actual plants. So, however, I'm going to go ahead and include a bid to install 3-gallon ones here, so I need to count. Look at your pencil cedars are doing really, really well. Almost no discoloration whatsoever. I would presume any discoloration that's there was there before the freeze. So if you want to create a hedgerow that basically blocks the view inside the pool, you could just simply replace them with these. But trust me, this is easily a 40-gallon cedar, and it's you know, it's a they're very expensive. But anyway, so 3 gallons. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 33, 34, 35, 36, 7, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47. And now we get to this one. I want to point this plant out right here. This is called an Asian bamboo. I'm not sure why they call it that, but it's a bamboo type. Typically the stems go straight up. You see them in a variety of colors, mostly green with little red berries. They're beautiful. They make a great hedgerow. I have a number of hotels that have them already. Whoever chose to plant those was obviously thinking correctly. They just don't know why they didn't fill in the whole gap here. There's actually one right there that hasn't grown back. Here's one right here, but I think that it basically, actually, you know, they did, but look, this one looks dead. Looks like the maintenance crew came by and trimmed them down too far. But look, it's very resilient. It's trying to come back. So they are proportionally positioned. But again, let's do 3 gallons. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4 on the corner. And then down the center, if you want to stick with the ground cover, this spaghetti grass needs to be removed. We'll call it 1 gallon ground cover, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28 of those. And now we get to the west side of the entrance, as you can see. Let's start over here on this corner. This particular bed's just grown up with weeds. Needs to be completely cleaned out. Again, I would replace it with something like Laurel Petalum. I would replace it with potentially Japanese Photina. This particular fan palm is dead, as you can easily see. But let's do 3 gallons. We'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 3 gallons back here. Now this particular, again, as I was stressing before, this Asian jasmine is dead. And you can see, you can feel it. You say, well, what's that growing up from the sides? It might be a substitute. It could potentially be a replacement. We don't have to remove it. I'm going to include a bid to remove it and replace it with either the same thing, Asian jasmine, or a low-lying ground cover. I'm going to start in the back with your angel hairs. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22. Let's go 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41. And as you can see, this ground cover, it looks like leaves. It's not. It's, see the little vines running through the ground? That's also ground cover, completely dead. The green that you see in it are just weeds that are growing back up. So this bed from there to here, which is about 8 feet by about 40 feet, is completely empty. It's just mess. You will need to replace this with something. Again, you could go with a shrub like you have here. Let's give a count for the Indian hawthorn. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 India hawthorn. Your crepe myrtle needs to be trimmed back. All your crepe myrtles need to be trimmed back. And then in the center, again, you could go with a low-lying ground cover. If you want to go with a low-lying ground cover, like I said, we want a 1 gallon for every foot. So if you got 40 feet, that's 80. And then you go across, you know, say 8 more, that's 16. 80 times 16 is, that's not right. Actually, it is. It's 40 feet. If you did that, if you had a ground cover similar to your Asian jasmine, going 40 feet, you know, 1 every 2 every foot, that's 80 feet. You go across, you go 1, 2, 3, 4, let's call it 5 feet. That's 10 times 80 is 800. That would cover the entire bed like a carpet. You don't need to do that. You could take, again, you could come around with your knockout roses and make this bed look identical to that bed over there, which has knockout roses. You see the knockout roses in the perimeter right there by that car? So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 3-gallon knockout roses. That will leave the center open. Now, what could you do across the center? My suggestion would be go with something like a sago palm. Yeah, sago palm leaves or branches died, but the sago palms are alive. Something along those lines to come across this center area here. Or you could go again with your ground cover. I'll work up a bid to put 3-gallon replacements here in the center, something that will pop up and grow and look nice. Maybe even those Japanese bamboos that you see over there. Okay, so that concludes this bed. Oh, I didn't give a count for this section here. Again, we have another 40 feet, so that's 80, and 2 is, well, really it's more like 3. So 80 times 6 is another 480 plants. That's a lot. Actually, we could probably go with the single little quarter gallon, you know, quart gallon, you know, the 2x2s, which would be a lot cheaper if you want to go with ground cover. But that's just like installing seasonal color, and that would account for 400 up there and 800 here, so 1,200 in total. If I'm not making much sense, essentially, you could even reduce the total. Even if you reduce the total, think about how big a foot is. And you put a little 1-gallon plant every foot. Well, there's 40 feet right here. So that's 40 plants. If you come across and there's another 6 or 7 feet, you know, you're still talking 300 or 400 plants in one spot. It seems like an awful lot, but it's not. Okay, here's your entrance island. These 2 plants right here are not Asian jasmine. They're called witch hazel. Both of these witch hazels are dead. They're both 3-gallon. I think you go with 1, 2, 3 3-gallon plants here in the front. These are called corn palms. They're dead. What I would do, again, in the center here, I'd go with something that pops, something like the Asian bamboo that sticks up and looks really pretty. You could go with the Fortina. You could go with any number. I love laurel petalum. You could do a laurel petalum here and then come back with some foxtails. I love foxtails, but foxtails did not perform very well. They all died. Anyway, let's do this. 3 gallons. We go 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, plus the original 3, which is 17. This looks fine. I think this is prepared for seasonal color. That's another thing you could do here in the center. You could put a center of flotilla, or something very angular, very 3 gallons, just one line, leaving this side to here, and then the other side from like there to there for seasonal color, if that's what you wanted to do. If you want to avoid having to pay a price every 6 months to do that, then you could choose something else. Now the beds out front. Unfortunately, I would replace all of this. Not these are alive, but here in the center, you're going to need to cultivate the ground. Let's just go with 3 gallon ones. We'll go 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32 total there. And then here we could do another 12, so 44 in this section. I'm going to send Lakeisha, the general manager, some pictures of options. Another great plant, very resilient, is azaleas. And azaleas have wonderful blooms, and they're a southern plant. You're going to need 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32, 34, 36, 38, 40, 42, 44, 46, 48, 50, 52, 54, 56, 58. 58 total. Hold on. I'm back over here on the east side. There's the front door again. We're going to go 1, 2. You don't really need to go in the middle here. There weren't any there before. But you could definitely put 6 3-gallon ones here in this center part here too. But I'm over here mostly to go over the palm trees. I'm going to start with this one on the far east side, southeast corner of the building. The question you have is it dead? Let me see if I can show you. Okay. You see all of the fans kind of hanging down, but right there, literally right there in the center, I see it. Don't know if you can see it, but right there in the center is what we call a heart. It's like the heart of an artichoke, and it's leaning over. It's not falling down. It usually indicates that the plant is dead. However, I wouldn't go so far as to remove these until you were sure. The only way to be sure is to trim these like you're taking a cigar, all the way up to the top, little pointy top. I would definitely do that, and I would do it quickly so that we could ascertain, see if it can get any growth before the end of June. So there's one of those. They all have their center hearts falling over. Those are usually indications that those are dead. And the thinner they are, the more susceptible they are to falling down, which you don't really want to have happen. So there's number 2. On a scale of 1 to 10 as to whether or not it's dead, with 10 being I'm 100% sure and 1 being I have no idea, I'm going to give this one a 7. Notice the difference between this palm, see right there, this section here that has the boots, doesn't have any boots. They've all fallen off. See those little flappy things that are flapping right there? Makes me think that one's gone. And the difference between, you can see some palm trees that have boots almost all the way to the ground. This one doesn't, but it still has a couple boots at the top. But it's not as thin as much. Compare it to this one. Look how much thicker. This thing has got to be at least 6 inches wider at its base. It's a lot more resilient. And I think I can see no, I can't. Well, what I can see, yep, right there in the center. Do you see that? That green one right there? I think that one's still alive. Plus, see how much more full these boots are right here? Much more thick. Again, I think we just take it and turn it into cigar. This fan palm out here, again, we turn it into a cigar, but it's definitely still alive. That's a 1. This is a 2, a 1 or a 2. This one here, again, is a 7 or an 8. More than likely it's dead, although the boots are still hanging on right here. Now look, this is a great example, guys. Look. Look at that big heart growing straight up. See that? I don't think this is dead. I think we trim it all the way back, remove all the boots, turn it into a cigar. I think this one will survive. Probably give that one a 4. Maybe I should have reversed it. This one again, I believe I'm going to give it an 8. And again, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being I'm absolutely sure it's dead, I'm going to give that one an 8. I think it's probably gone. Plus, let me comment about the cost to trim them. Requires us to bring a device out here that lifts us because we can't climb these for fear that they might fall over. And to trim them, you know, each tree is going to cost about $300 to trim. I mean, take it all the way down, remove everything. I'm just ballparking, maybe even close to $400 each tree. Now, the cost to remove each of these trees is closer to $1,000 a tree. You say, well, the marginal difference is $600. Well, the difference is if you trim it and they don't live, then you paid the $400 to trim it, and you still have the $1,000 to remove it, if that makes any sense. So it might be just better to remove it. Here's another palm. Again, that center stalk is not sticking up straight right here. And look right there. This is a great example of what makes me think it's probably dead. Look at those boots right there. See those boots? They're just falling off. Meaning the weight and the gravity's carrying them. And you're saying, well, shouldn't those boots aren't alive anyway? You're right. They're not alive. But it's just that the course, the part of the tree that's holding on to it usually doesn't drop stuff down like that. But after the freeze it does, and then when you compare that to, I don't see any green at the top, I'm going to give this one another 8. So 7, 8 for all of them. This one too, although look at the center stalk right there. It's kind of like pointing up, kind of erect. So might just be the angle. Plus look how the boots are still kind of holding on. They're falling, although it might be dying. You know, there's that. So that gives you the account of the trees. I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 palm trees, all of them that ultimately may need to come down. The shorter ones, there's 1, 2, 3 of the shorter ones. Let me do another count one more time. Oh, the far east, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I see 10 in total. And I think that concludes the video and the count. I will review the video. I will turn it into a table. I'll give you your options. You'll give you your drive out price, and we'll go from there. Thanks so much for taking your time. We appreciate it at Harrison Landscape. Hope we can do business with you guys in the future. Take care. Bye.